Hey guys, welcome back to Our Garage Auto Detail. Today is part 2 of the cold air intake for the Ram. If you didn't see part 1, you know where to find it. My left, your right, up in the card. So without further ado, let's get into the install. We may have gone over this before, but let's look at the parts and stuff that we'll need. Okay, heat shield. Here's our housing, our filter housing, right? Filter goes in here like so, blah, blah, blah. This goes there, yada, yada. We'll get more in depth, but tools we're gonna need. 10 mil screwdriver for hose clamps. Screwdriver for hose clamps is we need. Just a little short adjustable wrench because, like most people, I cannot find my 10 millimeter open end. All right, guys, I just finished up. There she is, quick peek. There was some other tools that were needed, right? So you saw the tools at the beginning. You're also gonna need a tape measure. Most of us are just gonna need a tape measure to measure the 11 inches. Some of you may not need that. So we also need a hacksaw. You could try it with a utility knife, but it's some pretty hard plastic. But this is the breather valve hose that goes to the intake tube. You're gonna cut that off 11 inches. And then you're gonna need a razor blade or some sort of deburring tool to deburr the plastic, and also cut the extra length for the hose that they give you. You are also going to need a what was basically a 14 mil, but I think it's probably a standard size of some size. So I just happen to have a metric. You're gonna need that for the fender bolts when you mount the housing into the truck. So other than that, oh yeah, and standard screwdriver for the hoses, for the hose clamps in the truck. But I don't want to show you, if I'm putting this in the middle of a video, I don't want to show you up close the final product. So you guys, good luck. Now on to the install. Okay, here we are. It's nice and hot because I just did our test runs. Disclaimer, remember, negative post, disconnect it, do it. Don't do as I do as I say. Okay. Disconnect this guy. We're gonna disconnect that first. And then I'm gonna loosen this clamp. Okay, there's that. All right, we're gonna disconnect the breather hose. The breather hose is disconnected. This actually should come out as an assembly. Boom, she's out. We will need that guy. That's our IAT sensor. And this guy, we'll be doing a video on how to detail under your hood with a cold air intake, because as you can see, it needs to be cleaned. This thing's got a hammy. Okay, here's our breather hose. This needs to come out. Oh my gosh, the motor is so hot. Okay, this is where we measure. Oh, it's probably down there with my 10 mil. This is where we measured 11 inches. And then we're gonna cut this tube. And we're gonna slide on that piece of rubber. That is just custom. Okay, 11 inches, mark it, cut it, and we should be good to go. Okay, cut it off. This baby should be about 11 inches. We'll call it ish. Okay, now there's that end. We need to clean that up. I'm just going to use a razor blade. All right, get that burr out. So I'm just taking this in there in the plastic and deburring it, right? Taking off the high spot that was left by the saw on the inside. And just getting all the loose stuff out of there. Now we take that piece of hose that was in the kit and we're going to slide it. We're going to try to slide it. That's another reason why you want to deburr the outside. Because we're going to have to try to slide it on here. Might have to spit on it or something. Oh my Lord. Struggling. Okay guys, I got it on, but as you can see, I had to create a little slit, but the end of the tube is here, the slit's back here. I'm going to put a zip tie up here to hold it tight. I have no other idea, no other way on how to do it. It was such a tight silicone hose, so we will hope for the best and hope this works. Okay. Truck is wet. I'm gonna secure this guy. Snip it flush like a good installer does. Okay, so we're gonna hope for the best. You know, of course, this tube is not pressurized. There's not a whole lot to worry about, but we want to make sure. I mean, that as hard as it was to get on, that thing's not coming off. So, engine cover goes back on. To wash your engine cover, if it looked like this right now, but since we're gonna do another video on that, I'm gonna leave it. If you look really close, you can see the little itty bitty feet of a rat or squirrel or someone trying to get a nut on my engine cover. Remove the front bolt. So like remove the front airbox mounting bracket. Now guys, I'm using a 14 for this. I don't think it is actually a 14 since it's probably standard, but good enough. Let's see if we can slide this baby on. Please be sure not to drop it on the fender or anything like that. Let's see. So it looks like the back one, not sure what this is, but it's a long bolt. Okay. Yeah, so this front bolt is up here, like behind the radiator. So a closer look, this bolt, that bolt right there, you can see the bracket going to that bolt. So that's what it looks like. This obviously isn't 100% tight, ready to go. That is going to come a little bit later. The intake air temperature, that is going to be a twist. It's going to be a two-handed thing. So you're going to twist and pull. Doesn't want to come out all that easy. Since I put the grommet in there earlier, that's where this baby goes. and that is just a press fit. So you see the O-ring there? You're going to want to push that in. Again, you got to kind of be careful with these sensors. They can be a little sensitive. I think we're going to push the O-ring up onto the body. So we keep the O-ring, but the grommet is going to have a good enough seal. Okay, so let's get the careful with. Roll it up so that it's still there for when you want to go back to factory. There you go. Get this baby to seat in there. You see it? It's so cute. Hi. Yeah, getting pretty close.
Got a nice little setup here.
Yeah, right? Okay, so our filter adapter was mounted earlier. It's all tight. Our hose adapter, so our intake tube adapter, is tight here against the housing. This is loose. Should be a little loose. Let's make sure it sits in there. Yeah, it's gonna sit in there nice. So I'm gonna tighten that up. There we go. But I'm also going to get these guys tightened up here. And then get this guy tight. Make sure it's in the elbow properly. Make sure that's lined up. So we'll loosen this guy a little bit so we can line it up. We're going to tighten him. Okay. And align this clamp. So we have easier access. This guy, make sure it's seated on the throttle body. Now remember, the smaller side of the elbow goes towards the throttle body. The fatter side goes towards the intake tube. We're gonna loosen this to see if we can seat it again. There we go. And then tighten that guy. Ooh, it's nice and rigid. Getting a little sensitive. Yeah, she's mounted tight. Okay. We'll get this guy on here. This one we're actually going to cut a little bit because it's super long. You want to leave it a little bit of length in case you mess up, but you don't want it incredibly long. Okay, there we go. A little bit better vantage. Give a massive zip tie. Okay. Nice and tight around the fitting. Snip it flush. Why, guys? Go ahead and put in the comments why you would snip it flush. Okay. This looks just like it. Click. Bring it around here. We are even going to put this guy on. Let's see if we can do this here. Try this again. It was actually a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Throw on my handheld tripod. It's probably with my 10 mil. Okay, let's get a closer look. Here's what was the intake air temperature plug. We got it into the jumper. The jumper goes back to the IAT back there. Our elbow, we've got our clamps. My boy texting. What's up, my boy? Yep. And we got that's tight. That's tight. You can see the hose down there. It's connected to the fitting. It's zip tied. The housing is tight. Yeah, this is just mounted with the hose clamp. The hose clamp goes over the top of it. It's mounted here. It's mounted here. See, 17 uses this one because the AC hose is in the way, but we're gonna bend it up just a little bit to get it off the housing. That's tight. I think she's ready for the very last step. The very last step. The very last step is gonna be some isopropyl alcohol on a rag. Yes, I know, I get it. I totally get it. This thing is super dirty. But we've got the one last thing to do here. And the last step, the sticker. Here it is. Let's get this thing started. Okay. Sounds normal. Got the heat shield on with the protective rubber on the housing. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully, it didn't take too long. Because this took me probably about a half an hour, which really isn't bad. I did most of all my bench work in the previous video. Other than that, it's time to go take it for a spin just to see if I can hear any difference. I'm not gonna be gone too long because it's pretty late. And all right, thanks for watching, guys. Click like if you liked what you saw. Click subscribe if you want to see more. All right, take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks.